David and Angela thought it was going to be an ordinary afternoon in their neighborhood. They had no idea one accusation was about to turn a peaceful walk into a major confrontation. But someone had already decided they didn't belong there. Linda Whitmore, an outspoken HOA member, watched them from her driveway. Linda quickly made a phone call, claiming the family was trespassing. She insisted that police needed to come immediately. David wasn't worried because he knew exactly where they were. This was a normal neighborhood walkway, and he had every reason to be there. Linda suddenly stepped in front of them and demanded that they leave. David calmly asked her what rule they had supposedly broken. David didn't argue or raise his voice. He simply asked Linda to explain exactly why she believed they were trespassing. Angela could see the situation getting uncomfortable. She stayed beside her husband and calmly waited for Linda to explain herself. Within minutes, police vehicles arrived at the neighborhood. Linda immediately walked toward the officers, convinced they would take her side. Linda told the officers that the family was trespassing. She spoke with complete confidence, expecting the officers to remove them immediately. The officers approached David and Angela and began asking what had happened. David answered calmly, never losing his composure. One officer asked David for his name. David gave it without hesitation, expecting nothing more than a routine conversation. Then the officer paused. Something about David's name clearly meant more to him than Linda expected. The officer looked at David and asked, "Mr. Mayor?" Linda's confident expression suddenly began to disappear. Linda had expected the officers to treat David like an outsider. Instead, they were speaking to him with obvious respect. David explained exactly where he and Angela had been walking. He gave the officers the facts without insulting Linda or escalating the situation. Angela showed the officers the information they had with them. Everything supported the family's explanation. The officers checked the location for themselves instead of relying on assumptions. The situation was becoming very different from Linda's original story. By now, neighbors had started watching from their porches. Everyone could see that the situation wasn't unfolding the way Linda expected. Linda tried to explain why she had called the police, but her confident tone was gone, replaced by nervous explanations. The officer calmly explained that accusations alone were not enough. He reminded Linda that everyone deserved to be treated fairly and respectfully. David could have been furious, but he chose to remain calm. He knew the best response was letting the facts speak for themselves. The officer thanked David for cooperating and addressed him respectfully. Linda watched silently as the entire tone of the encounter changed. The neighbors had witnessed the entire confrontation. What started as an accusation had turned into an uncomfortable lesson for everyone watching. Linda finally realized how badly the situation had gone. Her accusation had brought attention to a situation she clearly hadn't understood. After speaking with everyone involved, the officers prepared to leave. The confrontation was over, but its impact on the neighborhood had only begun. David and Angela simply walked home together. They had stayed calm, respectful, and confident from beginning to end. One neighbor approached David afterward and apologized for what had happened. It was a small gesture, but it meant a lot to the family. The afternoon reminded everyone that assumptions can create serious problems. Respect and fairness should never depend on someone's appearance or position. David never needed to prove his worth to anyone. He simply remained calm, trusted the facts, and stood beside his family. And sometimes the strongest response isn't anger. It's staying calm and letting the truth come out, like subscribe and tell us where you're watching from.